The verb gustar is one of the verbs that we're going to focus on. Literally, it means to be pleasing. So when we express this idea in English, we get to like. So we use it to express our likes and dislikes. We never use it with the subject pronoun. So the ones we talked about earlier, specifically yo and thu with this structure. Gustar doesn't function like other verbs. The verb has to agree with what's being talked about and not who's doing it or who likes it. So we focus on what's like versus who likes it. For example, let's say we say I like spaghetti. In English, we can say this: I like it. I'm the subject, so we use I. In Spanish, you want to kind of think about it in reverse. So think about what is pleasing. So go back to that same sentence. I like spaghetti. What do I like? Spaghetti. Spaghetti is pleasing to whom? To me. So when we think about it like that, put the what before the who, and it's going to give us the actual subject that we need. So when we say the what, that's our subject. So when we use gustar, we're going to use gusta as the form to express things that are singular. So this can be la calculadora, the calculator, el libro, the book, and also infinitive verbs. So infinitive verbs, for example, like the verb ser, are going to be verbs in an AR, ER, IR. And we'll cover more in this concept. The who, remember the who is not the subject. The who is who likes it, who finds it pleasing. So in order to express who finds it pleasing, we need to use a pronoun. That pronoun is either going to be me, te, or le. So remember, we can't use yo as a subject pronoun or thu, for example. That won't replace the me, te, or le. So remember that gustar is not like other verbs. So for example, that verb ser. One, it requires a pronoun. It needs the me, te, or le. That's going to tell us who likes it. So me is equivalent to yo. Te we use instead of tú. Le is equivalent to él, ella, usted. So if I'm the one who finds it pleasing, I have to use me as the pronoun. Remember that the te is the informal you that agrees with tú, and then le can refer to either él, ella, usted. If it's ella, it's still le. So remember, we can't use a subject pronoun with these, especially yo and tú. So what you're going to see is that it'll say a mí. A mí prompts using me. A ti will prompt you to use te. Immediately after that pronoun, the me, te, or le, we need to add the singular form of the verb, which in this case is gusta. So gusta we use to express things that are singular. This also includes infinitive verbs, regardless of how many infinitive verbs there are. So for example, chocolate, chocolate singular, pizza singular as well. This part comes from the textbook. So what do we get? Me gusta, no me gusta. We put the no immediately before the pronoun. Is I like or I don't like. I don't like what. So we have to use gusta because the what is the subject. So you like or you don't like. No te gusta, no le gusta. Remember, te is the informal you or the familiar you. Le, when we use it like with usted, is the formal you. And then when we ask a question, te gusta or a usted le gusta, if it's the formal way, the do in the question is automatically built into it. So do you like, and then we insert whatever the what is. It just has to be singular. So the same way it says a usted le gusta, we can put a name in there. Let's say we say a Miguel. So if we say a Miguel, Miguel is he is él agrees with le. Okay. So when we do these, and what the book tells you guys is that we're going to use el with the masculine noun after the gusta part, and then la with feminine nouns. Don't focus so much on which words are masculine or feminine at this point. The book will prompt you with the el or the la as necessary. It's another concept we'll cover later in the course. So also, you can use Spanish verbs in the infinitive form. An infinitive verb in Spanish always ends in ara. So what is an infinitive verb? It's a verb form. It tells us like the action, but it doesn't tell us who's doing the action. It doesn't tell us when the action occurred. So for example, to kick, to listen, to dance, to study, to read. It tells us the action, but it doesn't tell us who's reading, who's studying, and it doesn't tell us when they study. Are they studying now or did they study in the past, for example? So what we get is this. So that like it says, a usted, or in the previous slide, a mí, we have to put that a before names and proper nouns. A Maria, a Eduardo, a Miguel, a ti, a mí, a usted. If it's not pleasing, we have to put that no immediately before the pronoun. So the no is in parentheses to let you know that it's optional. If you like it, take it out. If you don't like it, include it. So then we have this pronoun. This is who finds it pleasing. Is it me, me? Is it informal you, te? Or is it a formal you, él or ella, which is le? Immediately after the pronoun, we use the form of gustar. So we're going to focus on one form. The second form is in another chapter that we'll cover in 112. So remember, gustar is going to agree with what is pleasing. That's our subject. We're focusing on the singular form, gusta. This includes infinitive verbs. The key to this is that it doesn't matter how many infinitive verbs that there are. It just happens to be that in Spanish, infinitive verbs are always singular. So gusta agrees with that. So for example, let's look at these four. So number one, me gusta la pizza. ¿Y tú? Sí, me gusta la pizza. So what do we want to look for? Let's look at number one a little bit more closely. So we're going to go through and look at the what, ask that first, and then we're going to ask who. This is pleasing to whom. When we write it though, we always put the who before the what. So put the pronoun immediately before gusta. Okay, so number one, what do I like? What's pleasing? Pizza. So this is the subject. Okay, so gusta agrees with pizza. So we're going to put this in bold as well. Pizza is pleasing to whom? The only pronoun we have is me. So I'm the to whom part. So we'll put this in red. Okay, so then at the end there's a question. And you, basically we're asking, what do you like? Do you like what? Pizza. So it's the same subject, the subject singular, so we use gusta. So I made a statement. Let's say I'm asking this to someone else that I know because it says, ¿y tú? Like, what about you? Do you like it? Do you like pizza? This person's comes back and says, pizza is pleasing to whom? To me. Okay, so let's look at number two. Ernesto come hamburguesas. So comer is one of these, it's an infinitive verb. It means to eat. So we know from the previous slide that infinitive verbs are always singular in Spanish. Always. Okay, so it doesn't matter that hamburguesas, hamburgers, are plural. What matters is that comer is an infinitive verb, therefore it's always singular in Spanish. So let's find our what. What's pleasing? Eating burgers, that's what's pleasing. So comer is in bold already because it's an infinitive verb. So if we use an infinitive verb, what form of gustar do we need to use to agree with the singular subject? Right, we use gusta. Okay, so eating burgers is pleasing to whom? Who likes eating burgers? Ernesto. He's the who. Remember, we use this a before names and proper nouns. So we need a pronoun that agrees with Ernesto. Is it me, te, or le? Le. A Ernesto le gusta comer hamburguesas. Let's look at number three. We have a lot of blanks, and we'll go back through it and look. A mí es chocolate. So remember, we can't use yo, so a mí lets us know the who and what pronoun has to agree with it. In this case, let's focus on the what first. What do I like in this statement in number three? El chocolate. So chocolate is singular. What form of gustar do we need? Gusta. So let's read it backwards. Chocolate is pleasing to whom? Who likes it? A mí. So we need a pronoun that agrees with a mí. Remember, this is the Remember, this is the yo form, but we can't use yo with this a mí. So is it me, te, or le? Me. So how do we know it has to be me? Let's say we take this out, and I'll strike through it. If this is out, we have no idea of knowing the who part of it. So that's why we need the a mí. It prompts us that the pronoun has to be me. Okay, so I make this statement. A mí me gusta el chocolate. Now I'm going to ask a question. ¿Y a ti el chocolate? Has my what changed? Has the subject changed? No, it hasn't. Because remember, the what's the subject. So I'm asking, is what pleasing to whom? So we find the what is what pleasing. El chocolate. So it's still singular. We need a verb form. Chocolate is singular, so we use Gustar. Is chocolate pleasing to whom? We need a pronoun. We can't leave it like this with the it, for example. It isn't a pronoun. Our pronoun has to be me, te, or le. So if we want to talk about it, its pronoun equivalent has to be te. So this is the question. ¿A ti te gusta el chocolate? So let's say someone's asking us this. So we need to reply back, and we want to talk about ourselves. Has the subject changed? Has the what changed? No, it's still about the chocolate. That's the what. Remember, the subject is the what, not the who. So can we stick with using gusta? Yes. So no, this person asked me, and I say no. Right? So we need both of the no's when we respond negatively. So chocolate is not pleasing to whom? Someone's asking us this question. We want to reply about ourselves, so we say me. And then someone else asks us another question. What about Alicia? So we talk about Alicia, but is she the what or is she the who? She's the who, but she's not the subject because the what is. So let's go back to el chocolate. This is our same subject. So in all three, we have the same subject, the what, el chocolate. We've changed the who. When we change the who, we have to change the pronoun to agree with it. So we went from a mí, me, a ti, te. This was a question, so it's back to me. And now in this last one, we're talking about Alicia as the who. So chocolate, go back to chocolate. What do we know about it? As the subject. We know that it's singular, so we use gusta. So is chocolate pleasing to whom? Is it a mí, a ti, or in this case, Alicia? It's about her. So remember, before names and proper nouns, we need to use this a. So y a Alicia, we need a pronoun that agrees with her. Is it me, te, or le? It has to be le, and this is why. So if we talk about Alicia, this is she. She is ella. Ella agrees with what? Le. So this is how we get that. Okay, so let's look at number 4. ¿A ti estudiar español? So we know, of course, español is Spanish. So what about estudiar? Estudiar, like on the slide before this, it's one of those infinitive verbs. It means to study. Just like ser means to be. Comer, like in number 2, is to eat. Okay, so then what do we know about this infinitive verb? We're going to put it in bold because it's our subject. It's the what. It's singular. Remember that infinitive verbs are always singular. So what form of gustar agrees with a singular subject? Gusta. All right, so then let's make this underlined as well. Now we need to find out who. Does who like studying Spanish? Are there any clues in number 4? IT is our clue. Now we need a pronoun that agrees with this, with a ti, because that's our who. We can't just leave the what with gusta. We need the who. The who has to be the pronoun. So a ti agrees with me, te, or le. Te. So let's say I want to expand this one in number 4. And I want to add something else to it. And I want to make the subject more than one thing. Okay, so I come back to number 4 and I added this. Sí, estudiar español y comer hamburguesas. Remember that infinitive verbs are always singular. It doesn't matter how many infinitive verbs, they just have to be infinitive verbs. So has the what changed? So number 4, we said the what is studying Spanish, so Gustar agrees with that. And the response to this, we have what? We have studying Spanish, so estudiar is an infinitive verb. Is that the only thing that's like? No, we have 2. We have studying Spanish and comer hamburguesas, eating burgers. So there are 2 things that are like, studying Spanish and eating burgers. But something's very important about these 2 things that are like. They're 2 infinitive verbs, estudiar y comer. So the subject's still singular, regardless of how many infinitive verbs. As long as they are infinitive verbs, the subject is singular. We need a what. We found our what, studying Spanish, eating burgers. We need a form of gustar that will reflect that. What do we change it to? Gusta. Okay. So then, studying Spanish and eating burgers are pleasing to whom? So this is where we need our pronoun, me, te, or le. So in this one, we're not prompted by it like at the question in number 4, or a me like in number 3. We don't see a name like in number 2, a Ernesto, or in the last one, number 3, a Alicia. How do we know which pronoun to choose? Someone's asking us a question because it says, a ti te gusta estudiar español. So if someone's asking us a question directly, we want to reply in the yo form. But remember, we can't use yo with the gustar construction. So which pronoun agrees with yo? We want to say, I like studying Spanish and eating burgers. So yo agrees with what? Me, te, or le? Me. So we have estudiar, we have comer are infinitive verbs. We can add more to the list. So in an activity in the textbook, you guys are going to see some other verbs that are infinitive verbs. They end in AR, ER, or IR. So for example, we have beber, comer, estudiar, hablar, jugar, tocar. So based on these cognates, we have café, chocolate, limonada, té, and number 1, beber means what? To drink. And number 2, enchiladas, ensalada, hamburguesas, pasta, pizza. So all of these are what? They're food items, so comer could mean what? To eat. And number 3, computación, español, historia, inglés, matemáticas. So all these are what? They're subjects, they're courses. So estudiar could mean to study. Hablar, and number 4, con mis amigos, español, hablar por teléfono. So with my friends, Spanish, or on the phone. I can do what with my friends? I can do what with Spanish? I can do what on the phone? That's right, hablar is to speak or to talk. And number 5, al basquetbol, al béisbol, al fútbol americano, al tenis. Right, so football by itself is soccer. Right, so it's played everywhere. And then football americano is what we consider to be football in the U.S. So this is like the NFL, our version of it. So then all these are what? Sports, so we do what with sports in this case? Jugar means to play, as in a sport. And then in number 6, tocar, la guitarra, el piano, el violín. What are these? They're instruments. What do we do with instruments? We play them. So tocar is to play an instrument, where number 5, jugar is to play, is in a sport.